Most founders and executive leaders are slowing down the rollout of AI in their company and they don't even realize it. And the problem is because they start with the technology. So they're going to buy a couple of licenses, they're going to give a couple of platforms or options to their team, and then ask them to make some magic. Sometimes they'll even write an AI governance policy or guardrails. And if their team is lucky, maybe they'll set up a couple of training sessions. But the problem with that is that not everybody is excited about AI and not everybody understands what's on the other side of the river. And a big issue sometimes is when they don't see adoption going up or when they're not seeing their return on investment, they will start putting pressure. The CEO of Spotify last year sent a memo internally saying we should do everything with AI. And if you're not catching up, you'll become obsolete, which is a politically correct way of saying that we will kick you out because you're not needed here. I don't think it's the right approach. I think it's a bit obsolete. It looks like 1980s management. So here's a better solution. I had a conversation with someone in HR last week, and a good chunk of what he does is relatively repetitive and administrative, and it's not necessarily the most exciting part of his job. And I told him, imagine, I was walking through a couple of ideas with using Claude. I was like, look, we could get rid of all of these things. And I could see in his eyes a mix of excitement and fear. And then I told him, look, we're not doing this so that we can kick you out. There's no hidden agenda. And I mean this, I believe in this. But I told him, imagine what you could do instead. I gave him an example of performance management. In a lot of companies today, if you're a smaller company, maybe you don't even have any process. In larger corporates and enterprise companies, you will see a performance management that looks pretty much like the same thing from 20, 30 years ago. You have a performance management talk once a year. If you're lucky, you have a mid-year review as well. You have goals and behaviors and how you're aligned with your values. 20 years ago, you had the same thing, more or less. It was on paper. And now it's on the app of your choice where you sometimes they have nice little graphs. But there hasn't been a lot of evolution or progress in how these things are done. And I was telling him, imagine with AI, you could freaking reinvent the entire thing. So you could still have goals. You could have interesting nudges so that people don't necessarily look back at what they set at the beginning of the year once every 6 months, but they could have learning reinforcement nudges throughout the week to make sure that the habits or the behaviors or the skills are progressing. This is exactly like Atomic Habits. If you know me, you know I'm a big fan, but you have these loops where you're developing habits. It's the same with learning, with spaced repetition and all of that. So I was telling him, you could basically help us boost the performance, the skills, the confidence of the entire team by getting rid of the boring stuff and you being more involved in all of this. I think there's a lot of opportunities for people, but if you tell them you should use AI to do all of your work, otherwise you'll become obsolete, not everybody on your team can see, okay, what's next? If I get rid of all of this, I know I won't have anything else left to do. So you need to show them a little bit what the future looks like and to give them a couple of ideas so that they start thinking about how they can build your business so that it becomes more competitive, more sustainable, and just more meaningful.